Nick, you want to start?
Welcome to Nottinghamshire. My name's Nick Mellors. I will leave Taufiq to introduce himself in about a minute and a half's time. For those people who don't know, Nottinghamshire is the red bit on the map of England and Wales there. So we're slap bang in the centre of the country. We are famous for a whole load of things. The circular saw was invented in Nottinghamshire. The jump jet was invented in Nottinghamshire. MRI scanners were invented in Nottinghamshire. We are home to the world's oldest professional football club in Notts County. And HP Sauce was invented in Nottingham. One of the things we're probably most famous for is Sherwood Forest and the legend of Robin Hood. And Taufiq, if you could tap the slide, we'll move on to what we're doing with Sherwood Forest. And that is the 5G Connected Forest project. And we've got a fairly broad objective for the project. It's to explore the potential of 5G to protect and promote areas of natural and cultural heritage, such as the Sherwood Forest. Put some context in this, the major oak is the oldest oak tree in the country, may even be in the world. It is something over 1,000 years old. In Sherwood Forest, we have something over 900 oak trees, which are themselves over 400 years old. It's a massively important area. It's important that we find new ways to protect it, but also it's important that we find new ways for people to engage in it. And it's not just about trees, it's about the spaces around it, it's about the communities within the forest area. Originally, the Sherwood Forest was pretty much all of Nottinghamshire. Nowadays, it's obviously far more fragmented. And so what we're looking at is we're looking at the visitor economy, which is an important part of Nottinghamshire's rural economy. And so we're looking at how 5G might enhance the visitor experience. That could be 5G entertainment. So there's a really awesome 5G augmented reality experience coming to Sherwood Forest. I've had a little play with it. You can fire arrows at people virtually. We're looking at a ghost walk and a whole collection of other visitor attractions that are enabled by 5G. We're looking at what visitor transport might look like, and we're looking at what smart visitor accommodation might look like, and the ability to use 5G sensors in innovative construction. And then we're also doing a huge chunk of work around the environmental protection and management of the forest. And at that point, I'll pass over to Taufiq.
Okay, thank you, Nick, for initiating this talk. Thank you, first of all, for the invitations. My name is Taufiq Asyhari. I'm Associate Professor at Birmingham City University. We are the academic partner for 5G Connected Forest project, and we are focusing on the robotic environmental management and life monitoring of the forest. So when we first joined this project, we are asking questions like how we could apply 5G for the case of environmental management, especially in the rural area. So we look at the primary umbrella of 5G. I think this was covered by one of the previous speakers. I think we can identify three different components that make up 5G. The first one is the massive Internet of Things. Second one is enhanced mobile broadband, and the third one is the mission's critical applications. I do believe that perhaps most of the applications around the environmental management perhaps revolve around this massive IoT, given the fact that there are many applications around putting sensors to monitor some changes in the environment. Things like soil or dendrometer of the tree and things like that. So that actually will be a natural evolvement from this IoT. There are a couple of technology around this aspect, such as the LoRaWAN, and then obviously if we talk about 5G, there are areas around the LTE-M and also the NB-IoT. However, we tried to see like could we do more beyond this IoT? We are looking at the cases where we can utilize the 5G strengths in terms of the broadband capability as well as the mission critical application. So here we are looking at the robotic environmental management. We primarily utilizing two semi-autonomous platforms. One of them is drone and the second one is robots. We are looking at how these drones and robots can capture data from the environment without having to install the sensor directly to the trees. Because obviously we are aware that Sherwood Forest is an ancient forest, and it's a highly protected forest. We will not be able to attach the sensor directly without making some damages to the protected trees. So we are looking at the drones and robots for the reasons that these two platforms could be utilized to perform remote sensing. And then we are looking at gathering the data using remote sensing technologies and being able to infer and make sense of the data being captured. So what we are looking as one of the use case for environmental management is real-time environmental remote sensing and analytics. And to address the challenges of 5G deployment in the rural area, where we obviously aware that 5G has a limited coverage, we are looking at how this 5G could cooperate with the existing networks such as 4G or Wi-Fi, so that all in all they can work together in harmony to deliver the required data from the environment and being able to enable the intelligence to make sense of those data. So this is like the structure of the system we are looking at. We are looking at the drones, for example. We are equipping the drones with multiple types of sensor that can perform remote monitoring. So we consider the utilizations of RGB camera and thermal camera. So part of this RGB camera could extend our visions towards what's happening in the forest. The thermal camera, we are looking at the cases where we may need to rescue a certain people who are visiting the forest, and obviously, like if we acknowledge forest is quite dense, then whenever people travel around the forest, they may be hidden under the canopy. So we are using thermal camera to detect that, and the integrations of these two cameras are expected to put pressure on the network technology. So we hope that with 5G, we could deliver as much data as possible from these hybrid cameras. Okay, so there are some challenges here. Obviously, challenges is about the 5G coverage, because obviously 5G using higher frequency than the other cellular technologies. So we are looking at how we can use the access networks for cooperations and to deliver the data. The problems with the intermittent connectivity, because it's a rural area, so there is not much signals that we can gather. So we need to really utilize the connectivity in a good way. We have an issue on the energy constraints, obviously, because all these devices, operate as a portable appliances. And then also the mission critical requirement of the application, in which we need to track, detect, and locate the necessary object within these use cases. Okay, so this is some of the algorithm that we have been trying out. We have been trying out this in our lab. Well, there was questions like whether we will be able to simulate this in practice. Well, the answer is difficult, because we have to burn the forest in order to test this idea. So we are using the pre-recorded video on on a certain fire events, and we use a machine learning technology to try to understand how this fire spread over time. And we test a couple of algorithms, and we measure how efficient this algorithm to address this issue. Okay, so at the moment we are trying to improve as much as possible the accuracy, and we are trying to detect multiple objects, including the fires, the smokes, and so on and so forth, to be able to perform a certain appropriate search and rescue activities. Okay, so I think that's about it from me. We'll be happy to discuss further if there are some ideas we could possibly collaborate in the future. Thank you.